Hello again, this is Fiendish with Dimension Touring, and this installment of the Tinker Tools video guides is about the load and save set function. Here's the window. It's broken down into some basic sections. You've got save set, import and export. Now I covered import and export in a written guide, and that's a lot easier to explain than trying to show it through a video guide, because with the written guide I could include some screenshots. So I'm not going to spend any time on it for this. I'm going to talk about the three different types of save sets. You've got default sets, and these default sets are left over from Dimension Tools. They were worked up by Hecatariat Lathis, who does some incredibly complex and amazing geometric work. And these are to make domes with like poles made into a hexagon. And then you can compile those sides together to create that dome. I've honestly never used this tool, so I'm not going to speak about how to use these domes excuse me, for this video. And then we've got TBX sets, that's Toolbox. Toolbox is the original Dimension add-on, and a site like Rift Dimension Addicts still has a database where you can share these sets back and forth amongst the community. All it is like a text file. You can copy and paste using Control-Z, Control-V, and be able to import, export sets that people want to share that way. As you can see, I'm pretty fond of some other people's sets. I use them quite often, and so they're here. But it allows me to still maintain the functionality of Tinker Tools, but to use these toolbox sets instead. And then we've got save sets. Those are the sets that we save in Tinker Tools. And under save sets, you've got use new items, which of course lets you pull items out of your bags instead of having to place each item first. And then we've got loaded original location. That if I've just saved a set and I need 5 more copies of that set, then I want to load it at the original location if I'm not offsetting. And here we've got load set. Load set is what builds the set for you. Delete set, if I have multiples and I don't need that set anymore, I can just get rid of it. I talked to the writer of the add-on, and he started to get a good idea of how many sets I've got saved, and he's wondering if there's actually a limit to how many sets you can save. And I've actually cut down a lot since I recently switched out computers. Most of my templates are gone, so I'm getting low on sets. Print materials is, it will put in your chat log what's needed to make a particular set. And then you've got this thing here, the clipboard. The clipboard we'll really get into when we go into the last section of the Tinker Tools guide, which is going to be to replace the reskin function. And the reskin function is a sanity saver if there ever was one. And then we've got the ability to offset sets, to place multiple copies of a set, and you can run those on an offset. So let's just pick a set and load it. Let me see. Here we go. One thing that this add-on does do that Toolbox and Dimension Tools, neither one of them did, is it alphabetizes your sets. That alone is amazing for me, as somebody that uses a lot of sets. Being able to find them quickly and easily just by scrolling down through a alphabetical list. And then the search bar here. If I know that I'm looking for, say, a window, all I have to do is type in window, and then hopefully I know what the difference is between Cascades Window 1 and Cascades Window 6. That was for a particular build. I made 10 different kinds of windows. So, and then I just resaved them every time I had to make a different version or turn it a different way or whatever. And then you got window chairs, window furniture. So hopefully I know what all these different windows are. Otherwise, you know, things might get So let's just try pillar. Okay, so let's load this at the original location and see where it is. Now, since I made this pillar test in this anywhere, it's going to be okay. Normally, if I had loaded it, say, if I had built this set in, say, Methosian Cascades, and then tried to load it here, I wouldn't be able to see the set build anywhere, and I would get an error thrown up from the Rift client that says, you know, my items cannot be placed outside of dimension boundaries or whatever, because coordinates are different for each dimension key, orientations are different for each dimension key, and it usually loaded original key location will work best if you're using the exact same kind of key, or if you're using the set multiple times in the same build. So we're just going to leave that here for now. So how do you build a set? Well, let's go back to our simple little our 6-prong idle pillar that we made in the rotating video. If I don't want to spend the 2 or 3 minutes to put together each new pillar, okay, oh, because I still have custom pivot selected from the last time. Alright, so let's try that. And that worked out much better. You know, if I was just in here messing around, it would turn out perfectly okay, but since I'm doing a video, it's gonna not do right. Okay, so then all I have to do is select all these pieces, make sure I have them all selected, come into my load and save set window, and give it a name. We'll call it a 6-prong pillar because that's what it is. Save it, and then there will be a notice in my chat window that says that 6-prong pillar is saved. Now, one caveat to loading and saving sets: if I were to crash right now after saving this set, I'm probably going to lose this set I just saved. If it's a set that you really value, as soon as you save it, reload the UI or log out and log back in. Because if there's a crash, and I just talked to somebody yesterday that this happened to, you can and probably will lose whatever set it was that you just saved. And if you have already removed those items, then congratulations, you get to build it again. So now I want to load this set. Well, we just loaded. So now let me put a simple little frame around this pillar here so we can talk about a multiple. We can do offsets. Loading and saving sets is a really easy thing. This is going to be a pretty quick video. And I'm not using really any offsets here. I'm just kind of setting a backdrop for this. And there we go. We'll have some overlap, but that'll be all right. There we go. We'll try to make it even like we would if this was a real build. clear out all these fields because I've got these rectangles stacked right on top of each other. Just want to do a relative move of 0.001 in all axes to kind of kill any flicker that might be there. Okay. So I don't know for sure how much room I've got. Well, I've got these two rectangles standing upright. Now I can use the offset calculator to do to figure out where my selection point is. But instead, I'm going to guess that since that's 9 and that's 9, I've got about 18. So I'm going to pick my set from here. I want to load at the original location, and I want to place multiple copies. And I only want to place, let's say 3, and I want to offset in the X, which is the red, so I'm going to pick 6. That's a good round number, and we'll see how that works. And load. Now what I did not do was pull up the original set that I had, and I'm not in a good spot here because I didn't do the math or any math. I just kind of guesstimated. But what I can do is just pull all this up, since I'm not rebuilding each individual pillar. Let's go 4 and load. And we'll see how that comes out. And for only being a little bit off like that, excuse me, I can take this and just slide the whole set manually into position. And that's a nice start to a fancy, maybe a temple wall or something. And that is, in a nutshell, that is how you load and save sets with Tinker Tools. Got toolbox sets, save sets, which are the sets that you actually build here, and default sets, which are those pre-made domes. And then you've got all these little sections down here, and loaded original location, and place multiple copies. So the next time we'll be on our last section, which uses both copy and paste and load and save sets, and that's going to be the reskin function. Until next time, happy building.